Marcus had only come in for a brake pad replacement, an ordinary auto shop, a routine job. But when the mechanic rolled up his sleeve, Marcus held his breath. There was a very familiar scar on his arm. Not from a knife, not from a bullet, from an explosive fragment. And he had only seen that type of scar in Delta Force operations. Could this quiet man standing in front of him really be who he thought he was? Today I'll share with you the story of a hero with a hidden past and a brother who recognized him. Before the video begins, please let me know in the comments which city you're watching from. And if you believe stories like this need to be told, please subscribe. Thompson's Auto Repair was a small-town garage on Main Street in an old building with an oil-scented workshop and 5 or 6 people who always worked the same routine. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary business, but one of the men working inside was far from ordinary. Jack Mitchell was 42 years old, medium height, with dark hair. He had been working at the garage for 12 years. He was never late, never left early, never complained. He didn't talk much with his coworkers, only had necessary work-related conversations with customers. Everyone was used to him, that quiet, reliable man. His boss, Bill Thompson, was very pleased with Jack. "My best worker," he'd say. "Never causes problems, does perfect work." He didn't know much about Jack's past. He only knew that he'd come to town a few years ago, lived alone in a rental house, and had never married. Customers liked Jack, too. When they left their cars with him, they were confident the job would be done right, but nobody had personal conversations with him. Jack seemed to prefer it that way. That Friday morning, Marcus Williams came to the garage with his vehicle. Marcus was 48 years old, a retired Army Ranger. He now worked at the local police department. He was tall, powerfully built. His face and hands bore small marks from years of military life. "Morning," Marcus said as he entered the garage. "Need my brake pads replaced." Bill Thompson greeted him. "Sure thing, Marcus. Let me check with Jack. He should be available." "Jack, got a customer." Jack emerged from under a car, tools in hand, wearing an oil-stained jumpsuit. He looked at Marcus and nodded. "Hello," Jack said, his voice low and calm. "What's the problem?" Marcus explained the situation. Brakes were squealing, needed new pads. Jack listened, took the car keys, and made notes about the vehicle. "I'll have it done in a couple of hours," Jack said. "Need to order parts." Marcus nodded. "No problem. I'll wait." Jack took the car into the service bay. Marcus sat in the waiting area. Old magazines, a cold coffee machine, and plastic chairs. Typical auto shop waiting area. An hour later, Marcus got up to check on Jack's progress. Jack was under the car. When he worked, he was completely focused. No movement was wasted. Everything was calculated and precise. "How's it going?" Marcus asked. Jack emerged from under the car. "Going well. Got the old pads out, installing the new ones." Just then, Jack rolled up the sleeve of his jumpsuit, because it was hot and the work was making him sweat. When he rolled up his sleeve, Marcus saw the scar on his left arm. Marcus's breath caught. That scar was very familiar, irregular, deep, but completely healed. It wasn't from a knife cut, wasn't a bullet wound. It was caused by an explosive fragment, and Marcus had only seen these types of scars in one place, Delta Force operations. Jack noticed Marcus staring at the scar. He immediately pulled his sleeve down and adjusted his jumpsuit. "Old accident," he said curtly. "From when I was a kid." But Marcus wasn't convinced. A childhood accident wouldn't leave that kind of scar, and the shape of that scar was from a very specific type of explosive fragment. "What kind of accident?" Marcus asked, curiosity in his voice. Jack hesitated. "Doesn't matter. Long time ago." Marcus didn't insist, but he couldn't get it out of his mind. That scar was almost identical to one he'd seen in Iraq in 2003. At that time, he was in a Rangers unit supporting a Delta Force operation, and in that operation, a soldier had taken a very similar wound from explosive fragments. When he got home that evening, Marcus went through his old files, photos, documents, memories from his military days. And finally, he found it. Photos from the 2003 Iraq operation. There, In one of the photos was a wounded Delta Force operator, Jack Mitchell. His face was younger, his hair was short, but it was the same man, that quiet man working at the auto shop. Marcus's heart started racing. Jack Mitchell was one of Delta Force's best operators. He had been in dozens of classified operations. But then what happened? Why was he here in this small town, working as a mechanic? The next day, Marcus returned to the garage. His car was ready, but he wanted to talk to Jack. "How's the car?" he asked. "Perfect," Jack said. "Brakes are like new." Marcus checked the car. It really was running perfectly. Jack's work was flawless. "Jack," Marcus said, lowering his voice, "I need to talk to you." Jack's expression changed. "Something wrong?" "No, but that scar I saw yesterday. I was military too, Rangers, and that scar—" Jack cut him off. "I don't know what you're talking about. 2003, Iraq, Delta Force operation, Fallujah, you were there." Jack froze. He didn't say anything, but the expression on his face said everything. "No," Jack said. "Wrong person." "No," Marcus said. "You're Jack Mitchell, Sergeant First Class, Delta Force. I know you." Jack looked around. Nobody else was there. He took a deep breath. "This isn't the place to talk," he said. "Then where should we talk?" Jack thought. "Tonight, Joe's bar, 8 o'clock. Marcus nodded. "I'll be there." That evening, Marcus went to Joe's bar. It was a small, dim, quiet place. Jack was sitting in a corner with a beer in front of him. Marcus sat next to him. "Hello, Jack." "Hello, Marcus." "So let's talk." Jack took a sip of his beer. "Talk about what?" "About why you're here, why you're working at an auto shop, why you're hiding your past." Jack remained silent for a long time. Then he began to speak. "I left Delta Force in 2008, officially voluntary retirement. Actually, I couldn't take it anymore." "Take what?" "The killing. Being killed, losing friends, seeing them in my dreams every night." Marcus nodded. He knew about PTSD. Many soldiers experienced it. "Did you get treatment?" "Yes, it took years, but the real healing came here, in this small town. Quiet, peaceful, where nobody knew who I was." "But why hide? You'd be considered a hero." Jack gave a bitter smile. "A hero?" "I killed a lot of people, Marcus. Lost a lot of friends. I'm not a hero, just someone who survived." Marcus could understand. Many soldiers felt that way. Guilt, loss, trauma. "But how are you now?" "Better, much better. Here, being a mechanic, fixing things, making them work again, it healed me." "Do you ever regret it, leaving?" Jack thought. "No, I made the right decision. My service to the military was over. Now I'm serving in a different way." "How?" "I've fixed people's cars. I make their lives easier. They treat me with respect. You don't know how valuable that is." Marcus smiled. "I understand." "But Marcus," Jack said in a serious tone, "you can't tell anyone this. My past needs to stay here." "Why?" "Because I'm not that man anymore. I'm Jack now, Jack the mechanic, and I want to stay that way." Marcus nodded. "I understand. But I want you to know, you're still a hero. A different kind of hero maybe, but a hero." Jack smiled. "Thank you." The two men finished their beers. Then Marcus asked, "Do you ever miss it? The action, the excitement, the team?" Jack thought, "Sometimes. But then at the auto shop, when I fix a customer's car and see them happy, I realize this is also a kind of operation, just a different mission. That's a good perspective. That's life. Everyone fights their own battle. My battle is inside me now, and I think I'm winning." Marcus stood up. "Jack, I'm glad I met you, the real you." "Me too, Marcus, and thank you." "For what?" "For not judging me. For understanding." Marcus put his hand on Jack's shoulder. "We're brothers, even if we're from different units." After that, Marcus's relationship with Jack changed. They weren't just customer and mechanic, they were friends. Marcus would stop by the garage occasionally to chat. Nobody knew the real reason for this friendship. One day, Marcus's young son came to the garage. His car had a small problem. Jack fixed it for free. "Why aren't you charging?" the kid asked. Jack smiled. "Because you're your father's son. He's a good man." After the kid left, Marcus thanked Jack. "No need," Jack said. "I like helping. I used to help in a different way. Now I help this way." "Do you think people should know your real identity?" Jack thought. "No, because identity isn't just about your past, it's also about your current choices. I'm at peace with my past, but the future is more important." Months passed. Jack continued working at the auto shop. Nobody knew his real story. Only Marcus knew, and he kept the secret. One day, there was an accident in town. An elderly man had a heart attack. Until the ambulance arrived, Jack intervened. He performed chest compressions, gave rescue breathing. He saved the man's life. Then, people started wondering. How did Jack know how to respond so well? Where did he learn those techniques? Jack said, "I saw it on TV." But Marcus knew the truth. Those techniques came from military medical training. That night, Marcus and Jack met again. "You were amazing today," Marcus said. "I just did what needed to be done." "Just like before," Jack smiled. "Maybe being a hero isn't about doing big operations. Maybe it's about doing small but important things in daily life." "You're right. Marcus, I want to tell you something. Since you found me, I've been feeling better. I'm at peace with my past, but having someone to share it with? I understand. I feel the same way." The two men quietly sipped their beers. Outside, small-town life continued. Nobody knew that two war veterans were sitting there, one still active, one hidden, but both serving in their own ways. "Jack," Marcus said, "if you ever need anything again, you know I'll be there." "Thank you. But I don't need anything anymore. Here in this small town at the auto shop, I found a peaceful life. That's also a kind of victory. Yes, maybe the most important victory." When Jack went home that night, for the first time in years, he felt truly at peace. He wasn't just Jack the mechanic anymore. He was both Jack the mechanic and the old Jack, and both were in harmony. The next day, while working at the auto shop, a customer thanked him. "My car's running great, Jack. Thank you." Jack smiled. "You're welcome. It's my job." But he thought to himself, "It's my mission." This story shows us that heroism doesn't only happen on the battlefield. Sometimes serving quietly in small towns, at auto shops, is also heroism. Jack Mitchell had built a new life by leaving his past behind, and that life was just as valuable and honorable as the old one. Real heroes don't boast. They just live, serve, and emerge when needed, just like Jack. So, have you ever known someone like this? Someone who hid their past but had actually done great things? Tell us about them in the comments.